Jason JACOBS, thanks for chatting with me tonight. Oh, well, shake of the hand there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gesture wildly, so you just be prepared. But you know, you caught me there. No, you're fine. You're fine. They gave me a sedative before they turned on the cameras. But you are joining us here in Pittsburgh from New York City. Welcome.
That's
It's
right.
it's great to have you visiting. You are a playwright, a director, and a teaching artist.
That's right.
And currently are working on Uncle Tom's Cabin. At the Pittsburgh Playhouse with the Conservatory Company. You and Tomei Cousin, who is a name that's become familiar here in Pittsburgh, have adapted this for the stage. So how did that come about? I mean, it's a pretty heavy topic. I mean, of course, the Harriet Beecher Stowe novel to a play by George Aiken, and now being presented by the two of you.
Yeah, well, it came about, it goes back with me to sort of a weird obsession with 19th century theater. Which I grew up with. I sort of was reading these dusty old plays when I was 7 or 8 years old. And so I knew about Uncle Tom's Cabin. And a lot of times I go back to like look at these older plays and say like, is there something relevant? Is there something there? And a couple of years ago, with all the stuff with Trayvon Martin and when the police things were happening and race relations in America were just getting escalating, I thought, this is a good time to look at the play. And that's right about when I had the serendipity to meet Tomei. We met at Lincoln Center at the director's lab, and we were given a chance to workshop and explore challenging plays. And so Tomei and I...
There you go.
Yeah, so Lincoln Center sort of said, this is, we proposed it. They said, yeah, come in and work on this. So Tomei and I, with 4 other directors, got a short period to explore the play together. And we saw what worked in the original play, and we also saw, well, if we were going to do this, what would we want to change? What would we want to look at? So Tomei proposed that we continue working together, and he said, how about bringing it to Pittsburgh Playhouse, and we could work with the students at Point Park University. And I said, great. I'm here.
Now, as I'm sure you know, Tomei, I believe, is a graduate of the conservatory at the Pittsburgh Playhouse, Point Park University, as was I. I may say.
I was not.
Well, that's all right. Well, let me tell you, it was great. And I'm sure Tomei will tell you the same thing. He was before me because I remember being a student there, and up on the 6th floor, they have all the headshots of, those who have gone off and done well, and I remember always seeing his there. So I've known the name for that long. They have not put my photo up there, by the way, yet. So
I'll see what I can do.
When you go back to the Roost, let them know no more interviews until my headshots hanging up there. Or they could just have a TV and run Burgh Vivant. I'm flexible. It's okay. But I wish you both the best. So for this adaptation, what do you feel that was unique in what you brought to it and what Tomei brought to it?
Oh, that's great. We definitely come from really different backgrounds, theatrically backgrounds, and mine is more classics and straight plays, and of course Tomei comes through the dance world and the Broadway dance world and musical theater and then dance theater. So
I think you just directed Ragtime up at CMU.
Yeah, like a sold out run. Like you couldn't get a seat for that.
So
it was beautiful.
He knows what he's doing. Right?
He also did Wig Out earlier this season, which they're talking about potentially taking him to New York with that. So he's people know Tomei here, and so we come from these different theatrical perspectives. We come from different training, so because I come from the directing playwriting hyphenate, so I felt very comfortable knowing that we could take this play, which is in public domain, so we can do whatever we want with it, and I felt very comfortable sort of saying we can adapt this. I know how to do this. We worked on it together, but and then Tomei with the movement, and of course our backgrounds are different. Our cultural backgrounds are different.
Well, right. I mean, there's some perspective there. I mean,
totally.
because no matter how many plays you see or, how many books you read, it doesn't put you in the shoes of somebody who is black.
Not at all.
So that's, I think, a really important thing, that sharing of perspectives there, too. And it's a tough piece, and certainly relevant, still. But in dealing with a heavy piece like that, how has that been with the students at Point Park and in the Point Park University atmosphere?
So the students have been came in so open and so generous and so brave, and I think I know they trust us and we trust them. I'm all about working whether with student actors or professional actors. I'm always about like the more authority and authorship you give to the actor to create, so that they're a collaborator, and you're not ever saying you go there, you do that, you do that. You're sort of saying, how do you see this moment? How do I see this moment? How would show me what that would look like? So part of that is, I think, part of that. We give them a lot of trust and respect. They're so well trained. They're so talented. They came in so open. And part of what we really, when we were both talking about what is the most important thing to tell this story today, it was a diverse ensemble of actors that are up there on stage telling the story together. And it was important to us that you see that. So in our show, you always see the actors on stage when they're not in character, and you see that moment. So I think you see that moment where they go from, here's the actor playing Uncle Tom maybe sitting right next to the actor playing Simon Legree. And you see them as people, and then you see them step onto the stage to enact the roles. So I think that we're building that sense of who we are as people together, and we're all Americans, and we're all in this ship together.
Yeah.
And then
You just say ship with a P, right?
P, ship with a
just
P,
wanted to
yes.
clarify that
Yeah,
if the mic didn't
together.
pick up clearly. Now, either way, I think it works.
Or,
just just wanted to make sure your intentions were clear there. Yeah, okay.
So they've been great.
So for those of us who may have read the novel, be familiar with it, or may have even seen a previous adaptation of it on stage, what can we expect from this one in particular that may be a little different or add a little something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to know how many people have seen it on stage, because after the 1920s, it had been so popular through the 19th century and 1920s, and then I grew up and I was like, nobody does this play.
I had always been very aware of it.
Yeah.
Well, the novel.
Yeah.
But never knew of the play being done.
The play isn't done very much.
Well, because it's touchy, you know.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
It takes great courage to, I think, produce this,
Yes.
direct it, to say I want to adapt this.
Yeah. And I think where most people know it mostly through The King and I.
Oh,
There's that moment in The King and I, where they do their version of it. The Siamese princesses do their version of Uncle Tom's
I
Cabin.
forgot about that.
So you can expect it will be nothing like that.
Okay. No King and I dancing
nothing like King and
musicals.
And if you really want to check out something really kind of horribly but fascinating, you can Google.
I love horrible and fascinating.
It's horribly
so you've got
fascinating.
me sold here.
So it's called Mickey's Melodrama. It's an early Disney film, Disney cartoon, and like before. It's probably from the 30s, where Mickey and Minnie and Goofy are putting on a production of Uncle Tom's Cabin. And Mickey is in blackface.
Yeah, they did some crazy things back in the early days of cartoons before, I guess, laws came into effect.
And just, our sense of what's right. Yeah, codes and what's right. And
so the lost episodes of Mickey Mouse.
So I promise you will not see the Jerome Robbins King and I choreography, and you will not see...
I'm sold already then.
You will not see any blackface, and you won't see... but what we're going for is a contemporary feeling of a historical play. And again, the sense of we're not trying to just do the play as we're in this illusion of being in the 19th century. We're a modern day contemporary ensemble doing the play. And I think that by the beginning and the end, you see it through a frame of our contemporary perspective.
No, it sounds compelling.
I hope so.
I wish you all the best with that. It runs April 7th through the 16th. Again, at the Pittsburgh Playhouse with the Conservatory Company. Tickets and more information at pittsburghplayhouse.com. Break legs to you and Mr. Cousin and to the cast.
To the cast.
Indeed. All the best.
Thanks, Brian.